This is Lama Tantrapa. Thank you for joining me today for a discussion about the energy of money. And in particular, we're going to talk about how to become friends with money. That's right. You may not be familiar with the concept of befriending the energy of something in particular. For example, you can become friends of forest. You can become friends of a particular mountain. You can become friends of your own house. Now, what if you become friends with money? Many people have some degree of relationship with something. For example, they are friends with their own house. That's lovely, that's great. That's something that probably allows them to living in their house more enjoyably. They also may be friends with the forest. For example, they go forest bathing, hiking in the woods, enjoying the flattened sides from the trees, breathing fresh forest air, and just generally soaking in the energy of the forest. You may become friends with a mountain. You don't have to be a mountaineer, but you can either enjoy the view of the mountain or go climb the mountain or spend some time, again, soaking in the energy of that mountain. And some people have different emotional reaction or response to the mountains. For example, some people may feel really intimidated by the sight of a mountain. Some people may become a friend with the energy of that mountain. Now, if you were the friend not only with a mountain, but also with something that you use every day or almost every day, what if you become friends with the energy of money? A lot of people, especially in the spiritual or so-called spiritual circles, they often refer to themselves as spiritual but not religious. Those folks often have challenges with money. And mind you, people who are religious also have challenges. For example, Catholic monks take the vow of poverty. Some Buddhist monks do the same thing. Some Buddhist monks don't. For example, I didn't take the vow of poverty just because I became an ordained Buddhist monk. Essentially, the poverty is not being friends with the energy of money. It's almost like rejecting this energy, rejecting certain aspect of reality. And when you reject an aspect of reality, it means you're not quite one with the universe. You actually are struggling or disavowing something that represents a particular aspect of the universe. Now, you may think, money is the mental concept. It's a human construct that essentially does not have a place in the universe, a natural universe of things, which may be correct. But the fact of the matter is that we humans are also part of the universe. And if we came up with a construct of any sort, or any dream to that matter, is this now part of the universe? As a matter of fact, where do the dreams come from? Dreams do not come from nowhere. They basically come from that aspect of your own consciousness that, again, underlies your psyche. Some people call it unconscious or subconscious. I call it dream being. Dream being is the being within yourself, as well as without, that essentially it comes up with the dreams and then provides you the resources to manifest. Now, if you have the dream, it's not just your own dream. If you recognize that the dream being is not only part of you, but also part of each and every one of us. It's a spirit that runs through everything. Then you no longer would be compartmentalizing. This is natural and universal, and this is contrived and can be discarded. You basically would be embracing all aspects of reality. Now, some of them you may really align with. When you align with a particular aspect of reality, what happens? You experience more of that. Basically, it's like you merging with the flow of traffic on the freeway. You go in the same direction where the other cars are going, more or less at the same speed. What happens? When you look out the window, you can see another car. Maybe a driver or a passenger is inside of that car. If you're traveling in the same direction, at the same speed, basically they become a constant companion of yours along the journey. Basically, they are joining you on the journey down that particular path, down that particular freeway. If you misalign yourself, so you take the exit or you simply change the speed of your travel, then obviously you will no longer have them by your side. They will be somewhere else. Now, what happens is something very similar, not only in relationship with cars on the road, but with people. Have you ever experienced friendship or companionship of somebody who became your person who travels with you along the same path? I bet you did. Maybe it was your relative, maybe it was your spouse, maybe it was a friend, basically a person who traveled along the same or similar path, at least for some period of time. If that is something that you experienced, then you can also translate it to other aspects of your life. For example, how about your health? Is this something that you also align yourself with? What if you travel along the same path where your physical health is traveling? Now, you may say, wait a moment, but my physical health is going downhill. I'm getting older, or I'm getting weaker or fatter, or whatever is going on with you. I don't want to go in the same direction. I want to go in the opposite direction, or I want to go somewhere else where I think I should go. And the question is, how much do you really know where you should go? That's a pretty philosophical, I would say, Zen question, because in most cases we don't really know where we should go. We have some assumptions that being somewhere else other than where we're at right now is going to be better. And so we get excited about getting from here, point A, to there, point B. You know, the grass is always greener on the other side, as they say. And so we often try to get somewhere other than where we're at. What does it do for you? It basically makes you feel constantly dissatisfied with where you're at. How's it working out for you? If you're dissatisfied with the way things are in your life, there is a better way to go. Obviously, it's not your fault that you are dissatisfied, because you have been programmed. You probably received a certain degree of indoctrination, or as I call it, domestication. Domesticated to believe that there are certain stereotypes of thinking that are correct, and other stereotypes of thinking that are wrong. This type of black and white, good and bad perception of reality literally robs you of the opportunity to experience authentically what is most beneficial for you, and also often pushing towards the direction that is not most beneficial. Simply because somebody told you that is the right way to go doesn't make it so. Even if you tell yourself that this is the right way to go. My question is always, how do you know? In order to find out whether it's the most appropriate, most advantageous way to travel for you, I would suggest doing some testing. Don't take my word, don't take anybody else's word. Let's test so that you have evidence that either supports that assumption that yes, this is the way to go, or actually contradicts it and says no, this is not the way to go. That is the way to go. How do you know which way to go? How do you know, as a result of tests, that one path is more and the other path is less appropriate for you? Well, that's why we started our conversation today about resonance. We start talking about aligning ourselves with energies that we actually resonate with. Now, if you don't resonate with some energy, trying to align with it basically will cause more dissonance in your own energy system. When you create more dissonance like that, you experience more struggle and suffering in your life. Essentially, you create your own nightmare out of this dream that we call daily life. That's how we create nightmares in our own night dreams, as a matter of fact. That's the surefire way to turn any dream into a nightmare. Just go against the flow of the dream, or focus your attention on something in your dream that you don't resonate with. You're guaranteed to experience a nightmare of some degree. Now, if you know how to create a nightmare, you may also get the idea that there are some alternatives. Suffering is optional. You may discover for yourself that perhaps there are some other things within that dream that you can focus on. And one of them may be the energy of money. Now, if you focus on that energy and you don't resonate with it, you have a certain degree of resistance or perhaps even disgust. You may think, oh, money is the root of all evil, or some other silly thought like that. Or you may just simply think, money is always evading me, so I cannot really relate to it. Or maybe you may even judge money for causing you trouble in the past, or your family, or your country. Believe me, I've had plenty of things that could possibly trigger that kind of attitude towards money. Growing up in a communist country obviously was not conducive to developing a really healthy relationship with money, because communists don't really relate to money very well. They think that they just need to get rid of money and basically live in a communist society where there is no money. That sounds like a nice utopia until you actually try doing it, and you're guaranteed to run into a few challenges, which is basically what a lot of communist countries have run into, including the country I come from, the Soviet Union. It doesn't exist anymore. So basically that challenge was too big for the country, it just fell apart. Just like several other communist countries, including Yugoslavia, for example, and Czechoslovakia. What happens when you experience any challenge or trouble like that? It basically gives you a choice. Life presents you a choice. Do you want to perceive it as a problem and basically struggle against it and try to get rid of it or fix it or just run away from it? Or pretend it's not happening and just go in denial? Or as an alternative, you can actually perceive it as a learning opportunity, as an opportunity to grow and expand your consciousness and learn a great deal about something that you previously didn't know before. Now that is what I'm talking about in regard to my attitude towards money. I actually started learning about it. And I learned something that Japanese people called ikigai. Now, it doesn't sound very good. You probably think ikigai, yeah, I've met a guy like that once, twice. And the term ikigai actually pertains to finding the sweet spot in your focus of attention that would allow you to enjoy what you do and basically live your life on purpose, manifesting your dream. That is essentially what I teach and practice, how to manifest and live your dreams. Now, in order for you to be able to do that, I would invite you to consider a couple of things. As a matter of fact, 4 things. The number one thing is, what do you love doing? Basically, if it didn't matter whether you were getting paid or you didn't get paid, you would still do that. Maybe you loved practicing Qigong. Since we're doing this video broadcast on Qigong Network, I assume or I hope that you enjoy practicing Qigong, maybe even teaching it. But this is something that you would basically do whether or not you would be paid for. It's just something you love, and you would do this as a volunteer. Now, that is something I would like to keep in mind, because when you know what you love doing, you basically discover your artistic calling. The person who loves doing what he or she does basically is an artist. Now, it's not always paid kind of job or gig, and many artists would testify to that being an artist often means being a struggling artist. So it's not always ideal to just do what you love doing and stop at that. It's also important to know what you're good at. If you know what you're particularly good at, Maybe you have a talent. Maybe you learned a particular skill or trait. You can do the trade. You can exercise your skill. If you're good at it, you will be very enthusiastic about doing that work. You will be getting good results from doing that kind of work. Or if it is your job, obviously you would be praised for it. You would be considered one of the top experts in that field. That is essentially doing what you're good at, which doesn't always mean doing what you love doing. The intersection between these two is what we have passion for. Passion is something that essentially is associated with doing what we love and also doing what we're good at. Can you imagine finding your sweet spot, the area of passion that you are both good at, and also you would do that anyway even if nobody paid you for it? Now that is a really good step in the right direction, but it's not all. There are two more quadrants that I would like to discuss with you today. In a sense, it's like a Venn diagram. We are looking for the points of intersections between these four areas that I'm going to discuss today. Another area that I want to talk about is what you think people need, or what the world needs. Basically, if you discover for yourself what the world needs and you start offering that to people, people will be benefiting from your work. You may do it altruistically. So in other words, you're providing people what they need without even being reciprocated for it. But you may also get paid for it. It's just people don't always buy what they need. Often they pursue that which they want, and they don't really recognize that they need to focus on that which they need. Because even if they do get what they wanted, guess what? Their needs may still not be met. So that's one of those funny paradoxes that we human beings experience in our lives quite frequently. We often tend to focus on what we want instead of what we need. And by the way, that is number 4 quadrant of our Venn diagram. Seeing what people want. What people want is something that they will be happy to pay for. And basically, that becomes your profession. If you do what people pay for, well, you get paid. It becomes your vocation. That is something that is not always the same as what you're passionate about, or what you feel people need, and you are on a mission to provide them that which they need. We actually need to find the intersection between all of these parts of the ikigai diagram. And so, how do we do that? We look for something that would satisfy all 4 criteria. In other words, you actually need to find something that provides satisfaction and a feeling of usefulness. Essentially, that's something that you do and you're good at, and you also do that which you love. So basically do it with passion. You also feel the sense of delight or fulfillment. It may not provide you wealth, but if you do what you love, that may already be a great accomplishment, because basically you are an artist. If you combine that with the feeling of usefulness, basically do that which is useful to people, then you discover how to turn your passion or your art into your vocation. You offer people something that they really need. Basically, you can experience you are on mission to be people's advocate or provide people what they need. You may do it altruistically if they don't pay you for that. But there is a way to make it so that they would actually pay you for that. And that is by establishing the connection with what people want. So identifying that aspect of your work that you're passionate about, that you feel satisfies people's needs, that also is something that people are looking for. How do you know that people are looking for something or that they want that? You ask them. That's right. You simply ask people, what do you want? And of all the answers, you can identify a specific answer or several that would fit into the other categories of doing what you love doing what you're good at, and also recognizing that people would actually get their needs met if you offer them that. If you combine all four of these principles into one cohesive offering, you would actually find your dream job. You would also be paid handsomely for it. And you would feel like you are changing the world. And plus, if you're good at it, you would also be getting really great results. So essentially, this is my invitation for you to do this homework. Ask people around you, or ask people on Facebook or other social networks, what is it that troubles you? What is it that you really want to achieve? What are your challenges? What are the dreams that you would like to manifest? And why haven't you manifested them? As a matter of fact, number one step in this direction is for you, for yourself, to recognize what is it that you're dreaming about and what has stopped you from manifesting this dream as of yet. Please leave your comment below this video. I would love to hear what you would like to manifest, and I will be happy to help you manifest and live your dreams. I look forward to reading your comments, and I will be back with another broadcast about the energy of money and how to put it to good use for yourself and the whole world. Until then, namaste.